Boss of all bosses. Around 1900, some Mafia members began using the dramatic title Boss of all bosses for powerful leader Giuseppe Morello. The title later became more widely known when Joe Masseria and Salvatore Maranzano used it in their attempts to centralize control of the American Mafia under themselves. After winning the violent Castellamarese War in 1931, Maranzano declared himself the supreme leader, organized New York's gangs into what became known as the Five Families, and demanded that all Mafia families pay him tribute. His claim to ultimate authority angered other bosses, and he was murdered later that same year on the orders of Lucky Luciano. Although Luciano could easily have claimed the title for himself, he chose to abolish it, believing that having one supreme boss created jealousy, conflict, and made that person a target. Instead, he created the Commission, a governing board made up of the bosses of the Five Families in New York, along with leaders from Buffalo and Chicago, to oversee activities and settle disputes between families. Over time, media outlets often described powerful figures such as Luciano, Frank Costello, Vito Genovese, Carlo Gambino, Paul Castellano, and John Gotti as boss of all bosses, but the Mafia itself did not officially recognize the title. Boss. The boss is the head of a Mafia family and is sometimes called the Don, or the Godfather. He is the top decision maker and receives a share of money from every criminal operation carried out by members of his family, as well as from activities connected to allied families in the same area. Depending on the family's traditions, the boss may be chosen by a vote among the Capo regimes, also called Capos, who are the leaders of smaller crews within the organization. If there is a tie, the underboss casts the deciding vote. In earlier decades, all full members of a family might vote for the boss, but by the late 1950s, large gatherings became too risky because they attracted law enforcement attention. In reality, many of these elections were heavily influenced or effectively decided in advance. Underboss. An underboss is the second in command. The underboss answers only to the boss and oversees the capos, crew leaders, and their soldiers. In some cases, the underboss is a close relative of the boss, such as a son, and may be expected to take control if the boss becomes sick, imprisoned, or killed. The actual power of an underboss can vary widely. In some families, the underboss plays only a limited role. In others, he effectively runs the organization's daily affairs. Some underboss appointments are meant to last for life, but power in criminal organizations is rarely secure. If a new boss takes control, he may sideline or even eliminate the previous underboss. When a boss is sent to prison, the underboss may step in as acting boss and become the real decision maker. In certain situations, even when the boss is free, a strong underboss can become the true power behind the scenes, while the boss serves more as a symbolic leader. Because underbosses often know sensitive and incriminating information about the boss, leaders usually appoint someone they deeply trust to the role. One of the underboss's key responsibilities is settling disputes within the family. He may handle many disagreements himself, especially smaller matters, but serious conflicts are brought to the boss. In those cases, the underboss typically attends discussions and offers advice, though final authority always rests with the boss. An underboss may share directly in various illegal operations, receive a portion of earnings from several capos, or collect envelopes of money that he takes a percentage from before passing the remainder up to the boss. Like the boss, an underboss may have a trusted aide or right-hand man who speaks on his behalf or carries out specific tasks. Consigliere. The consigliere serves as a trusted advisor and counselor to the boss. He may represent the boss at important meetings, both within his own family and in discussions with other crime families. The consigliere is usually a close friend and confidant, someone the boss deeply trusts. Unlike many others in the organization, the consigliere is allowed to question or even argue with the boss when necessary. Part of his role is to challenge plans, point out risks, and offer honest advice to prevent costly mistakes. Although movies sometimes portray the consigliere as calm, neutral, and uninterested in power, real-life examples suggest the role could carry significant influence. Together, the boss, underboss, and consigliere make up the top 3 leadership positions of a mafia family, sometimes called the administration. Capo. A capo regime or capodecina, usually shortened to capo, is a leadership role in both the Sicilian and Italian-American mafia. The word is Italian and means the head of a group or division. In English, a capo is sometimes called a captain, skipper, or lieutenant. A capo is a made member, meaning he is officially initiated into the crime family. He leads a smaller unit called a crew, which is made up of soldiers. The capo gives orders to his crew, oversees their activities, and reports directly to the boss, underboss, or sometimes a street boss. Because he controls a group of members and their operations, a capo holds significant influence within the organization. Soldato. A soldato, or soldier, is the first official rank in the Sicilian and Italian-American mafia. It is the lowest level of fully initiated membership. To become a soldier, an associate, someone who works with the mafia but is not yet a member, must prove loyalty, be sponsored by a capo, approved by leadership, and take the oath of omertà, the code of silence. Once initiated, he becomes a made man and is assigned to a crew led by a capo. Soldiers earn money through criminal activities and pass a portion of their profits up the chain of command to their capo. They usually do not receive orders directly from the boss. Commands move down through the hierarchy. Soldiers may be expected to carry out intimidation, violence, or even murder if ordered. In return for lifelong loyalty and silence, they receive protection and status within the criminal world. Killing a soldier without the boss's permission is strictly forbidden and can lead to deadly consequences. The term picchiotto is often used for a younger or inexperienced soldier, or sometimes for a rising associate not yet fully initiated. Not all soldiers are equal. Some are powerful earners with influence and wealth, while others struggle financially. A soldier's respect and standing depend largely on how much money he brings in and how loyal he proves to be. Associate. An associate is someone who works with a mafia crime family but is not an official member. This is usually where future mobsters begin, proving their loyalty and usefulness before they can be considered for full membership. Associates may perform many different roles. Some carry out tasks similar to soldiers, while others handle small jobs such as delivering messages or running errands. They might act as go-betweens in criminal deals, manage illegal businesses, deal drugs to draw attention away from higher-ranking members, or operate legitimate businesses, such as restaurants or construction companies, that the family works with. Some associates are corrupt union officials or business people who help the organization from the inside. When a crime family decides to accept new members, the most trusted associates of Italian descent may be chosen to become soldiers. Non-Italians, however, cannot be formally initiated and will always remain associates.